Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I'm taking a look at Transformers Generations Legacy Jhiaxus. And Jhiaxus is the second time we've gotten this character in the toy line. In Thrilling 30, we got a version of Jhiaxus, which was based off a redesign he got in IDW and shared a mold with a deluxe, what was it at the time? Thrilling 30 Armada Starscream. Here we have Jhiaxus in a weird, kind of semi-organic rocket ship mode, very heavily inspired and basically the design from his original Marvel Comics run. And I hope I'm getting my Transformers lore here correctly. Jhiaxus was a character that was introduced into the Transformers comics at the time when the writers realized that the comic line was getting canceled. So the joke here is Jhiaxus, like you fired us all. He was introduced. He does, if we look up here, he's got his like Generation 2 cybertronian symbol on there. Essentially the new I guess new evolution of Cybertronians on Cybertron. And as far as I know, I don't know that we ever got did we get an alt mode pick in the comics? I was looking through old comic pages, and maybe I should have just gone online and searched it. But my old issues of the Marvel Comics, I don't remember seeing his alt mode. But I believe what that allowed the designers of this toy to do, because this is an all-new mold, is just give us a toy that was as good a robot mode Generation 1 style Jhiaxus as they could get, and then get it to transform into something that's cool. And it is pretty cool. I mean, we can see here, I got some minor complaints. If we unpeg his gun, we can see here that the nose cone, it's kind of just the top half. I wish it kind of this sealed up a little bit, a little more round, a little more axis symmetric would have been nice. But other than that, I mean, we've got, good hiding of robot parts. We've got the two arms down here, but honestly, what this creates is just a really nice holding point to swoosh him around, which I really, really appreciate. And yeah, he's got two guns that we can take off, and he looks good. I like the yellow and the silver together, especially down here on the rockets. That looks really nice. That like organic style wiring looks really neat. Up top, we've got like painted yellow. It's not a perfect match for the painted yellow on white because this is painted yellow on transparent plastic, but it still looks nice, and it looks nice with the transparent cockpit. There we can see I flipped my robot mode head around because I don't want him peeking up at the cockpit, but there we can see. And of course, like I said, there you can see my fingers dancing because we don't have like just one more piece to flip out and finish this or something, but not that big a deal. Again, for me, I never loved the original Jhiaxus design. I very much prefer the IDW design, but I never got that toy because it was a little too small for me. So for now, I think like this is still a neat little toy, and I'm excited to have it in hand. So the other things I guess we can talk about is we do have ports to hold weapons on the side here, up top here, down at the bottom here as we showed. We've got another set here. So he feels a little more like a siege figure in that he's got those 5mm ports everywhere, but he doesn't have our places for effect pieces except for the booster, the exhaust end back here can fit things nicely. And yeah, I like it. I mean, it is surprisingly aerodynamic in shape. It feels like a spaceship more than a jet, just in terms of the aspect ratio between the wings and the body. But yeah, it looks real cool. I dig it, even though the colors throw me off. I wonder if like an orangey repaint I'd like even better. We do get these two guns. I really like this one here. They're kind of nonsensical 90s guns. It's got like a pump action down here, but it doesn't look really like a shotgun. Same thing with this one here. I guess it's a double-barreled shotgun. It's got a magazine. It feels like those like 90s like X-Men Cable type guns. But they both are sculpted nicely, and I really like the transparent plastic with silver paint, gunmetal paint on this one. That works really well. I wish we had a little more paint on this gun. But, maybe it's expecting too much from the Transformers line, which is a little unfortunate, but still neat. So we can set those aside, and we can get to our transfer. Actually, before we do transformation, let's get him next to someone. So we have been talking about how Voyagers and Leaders have been getting smaller. Jhiaxus, I feel like, breaks that mold a little bit. Feels like a solid Voyager in hand. Decent weight to him and decent dimensions, especially for a jet. It's super important to me that my flyers are bigger than my cars. So I do like that this is like a decent Voyager and not what would be a deluxe that just has more advanced engineering. With that being said, let's go ahead and transform him. So the first thing I want to do is I want to detach the wings. If we look on the bottom, the green wing has an attachment to this little yellow tab here, which is, I believe that is painted, right? Yeah, that's painted white plastic. So eventually there might be a little wear there, but probably not a big deal. We can come up and we can take the wing armature up, and it is going to come against this tab here, and it's a pretty solid connection there. And then you fold this back down. Kind of got to bend the plastic to get that slot into that tab, and then you can bend this wing piece down like so. Same thing on this side. Like so. And there you have the wings stubbed up and shortened for you. Next thing I like to do is the arms. We're just going to, for now, we're going to separate the arms. They have 2 tabs at the bottom, and they have on those green armatures. We can separate out from the body like so. And I just want to keep them away from the body so they don't interfere with the legs. We can come in and we can flip out our bat wings on the legs, which is, to me, a really silly thing, but I think it's grown on me as I've played with the toy. We can split the tail fin, come in, split apart. There is a tab here. And this is a neat thing that I wouldn't talk about since I normally don't transform back into alt mode. But this yellow painted plastic, when you clip it on, if you notice, it goes underneath. The yellow piece goes underneath this cockpit. So that is a very secure connection. I do think there's going to be paint rub eventually there, but the connection point is real nice. I like that there's like 2 connection points there. So we can come in with the legs separated. There is a tab back here connecting the exhaust to his toe. There we go, or his heel. And then we can take this whole leg and we're going to swing it out, allowing us to flip up the tail fin, flip down the heel, and collapse in our leg like so. And we get our solid little leg. Same thing on this side. Come in, separate that piece, extend this out, come in and flip. There we go. And that actually clicks in nicely. I do like that. And then we can collapse in our leg joint while keeping the knee up and available. Oop, let me poke my heel out here. There we go. And then we've got Jhiaxus with his legs all done. And then we can come up and we can twist around his waist here to get his legs pointed the right way, separating out the arms. And the arms, when they flip out, it kind of builds the sides of his torso. We want to break the connection on the cockpit right there, letting us flip down the back piece of the cockpit. What this lets us do is up top, flip out his little targeting system or weapon system, flip around the nose cone, closing things up, and then we can bring up his head, flipping around his head, and this little white platform here has a tabbing point in the front of his chest, like so. Close up his arms, flip out his wings, or sorry, not his wings, his wrists on both sides. Make sure those tab back in. I feel like this one's a little loose on my figure. And then close up the back. And there is Jhiaxus in all his Voyager glory. And I mean, he does look pretty nice and menacing. A little 90s goofy, but pretty nice and menacing. I really like that head sculpt. Again, it's that like squished, hyper detailed cheekbones that, you know, we've come to know and love from the original G1 Jhiaxus character. If you can tell, my head is very loose. There is a, and this is going to be very hard to show on camera, but it's in a ball socket joint. But let me see if I can do this. There, you can see it has like 2 joint positions, and this is just like a wiggly mess. Even if I make sure it's securely in that first position, the articulation isn't 100% there, and it just feels like the swiveling is really loose. So He can look up like the tiniest bit. It's actually a disappointing amount for, you know, a character that could fly. I want them to be able to look forward while they're flying. Can look down. He can twist it, and he can get some head tilt, which is nice. But I do wish we got a little more articulation out of that neck. We do have good shoulder articulation here. Again, watching out for his wings if possible. I guess moving that out of the way, it does go 360. What I don't love about the shoulder articulation is if we move things out, normally, I guess maybe I've gotten spoiled. I feel like these shoulders are double jointed by tradition now, where there is a joint inside the shoulder to allow me to swing things out, and this is like almost shoulder armor. Here it is literally the shoulder, so if you're going to move the shoulder out, you know, this whole section has to come up. There is swivel in the bicep. There is a bend, not double jointed, but there is a bend in the elbow. We do have wrist swivel here. We can open up his fingers. We do have waist swivel, which we saw due to transformation. Here is my big point of contention with this figure. He can go out that far, not the furthest. And then if we watch this hip articulation, the hip joint isn't back here, it's forward. This gives him a little more articulation and maybe a little more dynamic looking kick, but the result of the way this piece is sculpted and the way his waist piece is sculpted and their attachment means that he can only go back that far. So if you're trying to get like a running pose for Jhiaxus, you really have to like rely on your forward leg articulation. You can't rely so much on moving backwards, which is a shame. We can, of course, twist at the thigh. We've got a nice deep knee bend, and we do have ankle tilt, which I do appreciate, and toe tilt. So, you know, you can get him into some dynamic looking poses here, especially if you give him his guns. And the guns, the instructions do show that you can like stack the guns on each other. So there, you know, kind of thing, you can get him looking like that. He looks silly. This isn't a design that I love, but it is an iconic design. So it's one of those things where I'm glad to have in my collection. I think it's a solid toy. I'm really curious to see what we might get this remolded into or, you know, reused into, because it feels so Jhiaxus. That's what impresses me the most about this figure is the last time they did Jhiaxus, they were like, we are going to give him a body that allows us to remold him because no one knows Jhiaxus or cares about Jhiaxus. But the Transformers Legacy line is like, we don't care if no one cares. We promised you all these obscure characters. We're going to give them to you. Well, I love that we're getting Beast Wars characters. I love that we're getting Armada characters. I love that we're getting Robots in Disguise characters. And I love that we're getting Jhiaxus here. Even if, like, I'm not the target audience for this, I can still recognize that it's a pretty great Voyager. It is a good enough Voyager that I would say, and here we can see he is a proper Voyager, which I appreciate. I'd say this is like worth the full price. If you're paying $30 for this guy, I think it's worth the $30. The transformation is fun. The paintwork looks nice. What impressed me is this white plastic. I feel like doesn't have that soapy feeling that I've gotten before on like 8 Face is the big offender for me. I don't feel that way at all on this guy. He feels nice and solid, much more a Snapdragon than an 8 Face. And it is like a neat, interesting design. I mean, very humanoid. Here, like, this looks as close to the comics as I think we've seen before. Yeah, Jhiaxus is great. Easy recommendation if you're picking him up. And I believe that is it. I'm trying to like remember my recording schedule. Do I have a winner to announce at this point? Maybe. If I do, here's our winner. All right, it is time to find out the winner of Transformers Legacy Crankcase. And I do want to say I appreciate everyone who responded. Obviously, it was a tough ask. It sounds like there isn't really a third-party one except for the one that I already checked out before. But now that I know that there's an upgrade set, I was curious about that, so I'll have to go see. Maybe I'll do a review of non-F's crankcase upgrades. Here are all the responses. Again, if you answered and you said you wanted to enter the giveaway, then you got put in and you got a little heart to help me keep track of everything. And over here, we had 18 entries for crankcase. So rand between 1 and 18. And our first giveaway winner of 2023. Is that right? Is this the first giveaway of the year? It feels like it, but maybe I'm misremembering. Number 16. Number 16 is Alex the Huntsman. Alex the Huntsman, congratulations. You know how to contact us. Again, in our About page, all the different ways you can contact us. Congrats. And you reach out to us. I'll get them packaged up and shipped out to you ASAP. And we'll see what our next giveaway is sometime soon. Let's get back to the review. Thanks everyone for watching, and hope you have a great day. I'll catch you all on the next one. Bye.